everybody and welcome back to yet another video. Today we're going to be talking about, actually we are still here, but leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. Road to 3,000 subscribers. Thank you all very, very much. Let's dive right into this. 2.5.0, the patch that we've all been waiting for. The Tenosian invasion is coming. And they released a patch notes for it, so here we are. We're going to go through all of them. And the big update highlights for this patch is the Steam release, horses, new playable faction, 4 new maps, 2 team objective maps, and 2 team deathmatch maps. Added achievements for PC players on Epic Games and Steam, a console server browser, and a large amount of combat balance improvements. Now, this is the interesting thing we've been waiting for. And now it's about time that we get to see what this is all about. Let's dive right into the interesting bits of this immediately. Tenosia, the strange lands to the south, have long hovered as a distant threat to the lands of Agatha. They are best known to Chivalry 2012 players as the target of a failed crusade that led to the death of King Argon I. Tenosia therefore played a key role in igniting the civil war between the Mason Order and Agatha Knights. Now the Serpent Empire emerges from the shadows, intent on sinking their fangs into the barbarous lands of the north, ride to war on horseback as Tenosia or the Mason Order. With the new faction comes a variety of customization additions. When playing for Tenosia, expect visual and audio differences in armor, helmet, weapons, weapon skins, heraldry, new voices, and more. Now, here comes the biggest thing right off the get-go: horse combat. Spawning on horseback. Horses are currently only present in the new maps featured in this update. This is something I thought would be the case, because some older maps, like we have the Galencourt map, doesn't really fit horses, does it? Where do you use the horses in Galencourt? Or maybe the Siege of Rodhelm. There's a lot of walls to get past. Eventually horses are not going to be useful, and in the city streets it's going to be hard to avoid spears and things in the ground. Right. For the team objective maps featuring horses, players will receive a prompt to join the cavalry, allowing them to spawn on a horse during the next wave of cavalry. These spawns are limited and players will be randomly selected. Horses can also be found on the map itself for players to mount. So this sounds like if you want to get on a horse, it's randomized to who gets it, which is really nice, so then everybody gets a chance. And you can find a horse, so if you are an archer and you want to be cheesy, you can get a horse and ride around and shoot people. Sounds like a great idea. For the team deathmatch maps featuring horses, players will be randomly selected to spawn with a horse upon death. This is also cool, so in the team deathmatch maps, I would imagine we can see a lot more horses and a little bit different gameplay. Up to 12 active horses can be present at one time. And I have a feeling I hope this is 6 on each side. I mean, I hope it's on 12 for each side. That seems like quite a lot. Horses can kick opponents in front and behind them with jab, R on keyboard, R3 press on controller, and kick, F on keyboard, circle on PlayStation controller, and B on Xbox controller inputs. Horses have various states of speed. Once a horse reaches a gallop after naturally increasing its running speed, the rider is able to knock over opponents, similarly to how a player gets tackled on foot. As a horse builds up speed, the harder it will be to turn with a horse. Turning a horse involves looking where you want to go using your mouse or controller sticks. Using sprint inputs will cause the horse to reach full gallop and build even more speed. So it sounds like horses can be very fast, but the faster you go and you have like a pikeman sitting down with a spear, the chance of you being hit is probably massive and you're going to be knocked off your horse and die. Weapons on horseback. Standard weapons can attack normally while on horseback. As the rider moves, the weapon's damage output will multiply based on the horse's speed. All melee weapons-based attacks will receive this multiplier. A few weapons will have different special attacks while on horseback. Highland sword, low sweeping attack on the right side. Two-handed spear, hard-hitting stab attack. And the lance. Couching, see couching explanation in lance combat section below. So we get some use for the lances finally. That's going to be interesting to see as well. Now, it does look like horses are going to be one of those things that might be very annoying when you get killed by it. When a horse gets to a maximum speed at Mach 1 and slams into you and knocks you out. Ugh, that must be horrible. But then again, if you're riding a horse, you want to go as fast as possible, so you do the most amount of damage possible. So we'll see how this works. Now, lance combat. Players will spawn with a lance in hand during a cavalry spawn wave. When a gallop is reached, attack inputs will turn into a focused, constantly active horizontal state known as couching. If aimed accurately, the rider will deal massive damage to an opponent. Players can input a timed lunge for extra damage during this state. Couching will cause players' stamina to drain over time. If there's not enough stamina, a normal stab attack will be used instead. The lance will break after 3 successful hits. The player's primary weapon will be drawn in its place. And then we have a picture of the new map. I'm going to put it up on screen. Wow. The Breach of Baudwyn. This looks like a pretty cool map, I'm not going to lie. I can't wait to see this in action, like a catapult on the wall. Maybe some ballistas up there. Oh, it looks very nice. So, at the Breach of Baudwyn. Built by the Agathian commander of the same name during King Argon's rule and fall, the long-standing bulwark separates the lands of the north and the south. No army has ever attempted to break through until now. Bringing with them firepower unheard of, the Tenosians breached the town's gate and markets in an attempt to blast through the bulwark with bombastic bombards, a demonstration of their engineering prowess. As Tenosha, attackers must clear the following objectives. Objective 1. Push the siege ramps to the wall. Objective 2. Destroy the ballistas and catapults along the walls. Objective 3. Capture the market. Objective 4. Take control of the town hall. Objective 5. Push the bombards, load them and fire at the bulwark. This map will also feature cavalry waves during certain objectives. This sounds really cool. This map looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We have the second team objective map, the Razing of Askindir. Reacting to their call to war against the north, the Masons set sail to the port city of Askindir to demolish the city lighthouse and set the Tenosian library ablaze. As Masons, the attackers must complete the following objectives. Objective 1. Destroy the lighthouse with petards. Tenosian can disarm them. Objective 2. Take control of the bridge. Objective 3. Push over the city columns. Objective 4. Dismantle the astrolabes. Astrolabes. I can't read this word, I'm not gonna lie. Objective 5. Burn the library's bookshelves. Tenosians can use water jug to put out the fire. The map will also feature cavalry waves during certain objectives. And then we have another team deathmatch map, the desert. A picture here, as you can see. A battle off the outskirts of Baudwyn in the dark, cold night. After the fall of the bulwark, the Tenosians regroup for another assault, only to be greeted by the Mason Order's vengeful frontal force. Players will fight each other in the ruins with cavalry support. A lone ballista is present in the middle. Taking control of this ballista will increase the odds in achieving victory. The Charge of Wardenglade. I mean, this is probably a bigger version of Wardenglade that we already have, but to fit horses, I would imagine. The classic open field of Wardenglade, now with horses. The map is not present in the public test. And also, if you didn't know, the public test is actually going to, well, come out tomorrow. If you're watching this video tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, I don't know what that is in America time or Norway time. I think it is actually around 6:30 p.m. UK time, 7:30 p.m. Norway Central Europe time. And we're going to see how that goes. It's going to be interesting. Aberfell. Fixed an exploit where the rock walls could be jumped over without knocking them down. Fixed an issue where accepting the Mason forward spawn would drop players off a small cliff. Oh, interesting. Fixed an issue where toppled stones would not replicate properly when joining mid-match. and fixed an issue where there's a lot of fixes here. I think the big things that we want to look at, it does look like Coxwell is coming back. Objective balance changes, 40 players, stage 1. Okay, so it looks like they might be coming back. Coxwell, that'd be nice. I haven't seen it in a while, actually. That would be interesting. So, team balance. This is something I noticed when I was playing Aberfell once. I got, at the end, switched to the Mason order and I won the game. I did not switch team on purpose, but it switched me over, and because of auto balance, and therefore I won, even though I should have lost. Auto balance now begins at the start of the match. Nice. Before the match starts, there can be a difference of 2 players when switching teams. Auto balance will not happen during map's last objective stage. This is really good. And they also mention here, auto balance has been noted as a frustration for players. Part of the solution is to make sure the team switching after the game begins is minimal, and that players aren't unexpectedly switched to the opposite team during the last part of the match. We're looking at further solutions to address additional feedback we received from team balance as well. So this is interesting. I'm looking forward to see how they're going to fix this. I think it's going to be a good fix. We're on a good path here. And then we get some customization, new customization. Armor, Mason, Agatha, Peasant caps. To Notion Archer, Akadin armor with leather, light armor and mail shirt variants. To Notion Footman, Aswaran armor with Cavalier, Light Cavalier and Elite Aswaran variants. To Notion helmets with Light, Battle and Royal variants. To Notion heavy helmets with Cavalier, Light Cavalier, Elite Aswaran and Masked Aswaran variants. Dagger, Kanjar with Damascus, Ivory and Jewel variants. Falchion, Skirmisher with Aged, Embellished and Royal variants. Carabella with Weather, Decorated and Golden variants. This is the one weapon we looked at in the Notion first look at the customization, the Carabella, which looked like a really cool falchion skin. I'm really looking forward to it. Shields, to Notion Small Shield, Worn Spear, and Separ variants. To Notion Medium Shield, Rusty Dipylon and Dipylon variants. To Notion Large Shield, Worn Sparabara and Sparabara variants. Sparabara. Sounds like a keyword to put in the comments. Do you like a Sparabara variant? Sounds nice. Steam timed exclusive items unlock for free by following the Chivalry 2 community on Steam. To Notion exclusive helmet, Mason exclusive helmet Agatha, and Steam timed exclusive item free for Chivalry 1 owners, backwards compatible Steam loyalty helmet. So we get some new voice. Haughty Counselor, Jolly Chef, Grizzled Sentinel, and Professional Assassin. This sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun voice lines to listen to. I can't wait. Now, let's on to combat. Bonus damage UI. Bonus damage is now displayed on screen next to damage dealt. And I think this is to see if you're riding a horse, you can kind of see how much extra damage you did by riding at a certain speed. So you can, see gauge how well you want to, go along. Now the horn is now only overheal a certain amount based on given player's class. Archer only get 10 HP extra, Vanguard get 15 HP, Footman gets 20, and Knight gets 25 HP extra. And they put a little note here, until now overheal has given a standard bonus health value regardless of class. Currently the survivability of Archers and Vanguards is slightly higher than expected for certain weapon types, while Knights are a bit weaker. Changing the overall values brings this vision more in line. We will continue to monitor this balance going forward. This is looking interesting. Now, sprint charge attacks turn rate limit has been tightened from 65% to 70%. The sprint tackles turn rate limit has been tightened from 70 to 72.5%. Fixed an exploit where players could jump during the beginning of a sprint charge. These changes are to allow dashes to be more reliable when dodging sprint attacks. It was noted by the community testers that spring charge attacks have a very wide turn limit and can be difficult to read or react to. The changes here aim to make this a bit more consistent. Please note that the higher percentage above means that the angle is reduced, so there's more chances to try to avoid what's going on. And then we're going to look at some damage values. They have kind of increased some damage values here, which is a bit interesting. Turn cap changes. Turning while inputting special attacks and stab attacks made tighter, i.e. higher number equals tighter turn cap for the following weapons. So it means that if you're doing your special attack, you can't do like a 360 while using your attack. Increased default special attack turn cap from 47.5 to 50. One-handed from 47.5 to 55. And two-handed special attack from 47.5 to 60. So it's a lot harder to swing around willy-nilly. And they say here it was noted by community members that some weapons, mostly longer weapons, had a very wide stab compared to others. This has been refined to be more consistent and reactable, which is good. I think this is really nice. And in general, we get a new siege equipment added. The bombards must be loaded with cannonballs found on the map. This is going to be a fun siege weapon to use. I'm going to use it a lot. I'm going to try at least. Increase the height of the parry box slightly to make blocking jump attacks more reliable. That's really good. Increase collision area of hanging traps. That might be good. Constructibles now cause weapons to whack upon collision. Thwack upon collision. I think that means that it will stop. It won't continue going through. So it'll like hit the stuff. And they added a class limit to engineers. This is sad to see. This was fun. Having like a massive wall built. And they have a little quote here. There existed an exploit where jumping with some long weapons at certain angles allowed for hits through blocking. We have adjusted the height of the parry box and will continue to monitor for further exploits. We have increased the appeal of engineers by reviving their place with the community testers, with players being able to hit players behind walls and being able to destroy multiple walls easily. We have adjusted constructible collision overall to thwack on hit. This means that your attack will hit constructibles and finish instead of cleaving, giving an overall buff to using them. To make sure that engineers stay balanced, we have added a class limit of 12.5%. A team of 32 can have 4 per team. This is actually pretty good because that means that you can't destroy everything at once, and it makes the walls a bit more usable to actually blocking people running in. So now engineers with like archers can kind of collaborate to build a defensive structure. This is nice. This is really good. Bug fixes. Fixed an issue where aim would be offset by specific spawn points. This fixed an issue where arrows and bolts could disarm a player blocking with shield at 0 stamina. Fixed an issue where the healing banner would stop granting score after player death. Fixed a key binding exploit where a vanguard leaping sprint attack could be done infinitely. Fixed an issue where the plank special attack would only do 15 damage. Implemented a fix to reduce the frequency of weapons becoming invisible during combat. I've actually experienced the invisible weapon stuff, and it's really annoying because you don't know what's going on. Oh, projectiles now consistently hit their targets. Now this is an interesting one. I can't wait to try this out. This is going to be nice. Weapons and carryables, they're adding a lot of new things so you can pick up in the map. Books, sensor, chamber pots, clay pots, lamp, leather balls, metal pourer, metal scrolls, plates, sandals, shoes, teacups, teapots, tin ocean metal pots, watermelon, and water jar. Nice! They balanced the Warhammer a little bit. They've reduced slash damage from 50 to 45, heavy slash damage from 70 to 65, increased overhead wind-up time from 0.125 to 0.15 seconds, increased heavy overhead wind-up time from 0.375 to 0.4 seconds. Communication with our testing groups and examination of weapon metrics showed the Warhammer as a very powerful weapon. Speed and damage in addition to stamina damage were slightly overturned, and adjustments were made based on these discussions. Now, matchmaking, new queue to Notion Invasion. This is great. Then we can play the new maps. And the Notion Invasion has been capped to 52 players, which is interesting. So we're going to see how this works. So 64-player mixed modes now go Lionspire, Gallencourt, and Aberfell. So they will be like in line narratively. This is kind of cool. 40-player mixed modes, the same lineup, Lionspire, Gallencourt, and Aberfell. Beginner, Lionspire, Gallencourt, and Aberfell. Free-for-all, move to server browser, arena, duels, rename duels queue to 1v1 arena. This is cool. Hopefully, Tornbanner goes the way and makes a competitive mode out of this server browser. Console players will now be able to access the server listed in server browser, which is separate from matchmaking servers under Play standalone servers. This includes the dual yard servers, previously allowed only for PC players. The dual servers are an excellent way in testing your skills in a more impromptu environment. Dual servers have specific community-driven rules. Do not randomly attack other duelists, REM. When looking for a player to duel, flourish your weapon and wait for your opponents to flourish back. If they do, they have accepted your duel request. Avoid hitting other players in the middle of your duel. Game modes, last team standing, combat zones have been made smaller for all maps. And they add, in the last team standing, we noticed situations where final players attempted to run from encounters and thereby extend the amount of time between rounds. This ultimately gave a less enjoyable experience for those waiting to respawn for the next round. Performance and crash fixes, Xbox One and PlayStation 4, optimizations made to blood decals, optimizations made to characters' LODs, and optimizations made to lighting systems. And they say we're always looking to improve the player experience. This update comes with the optimization targeting consoles. And there's a lot of animation fixes, there's a lot of adjustments, audio, UI, and MISC. So we're probably gonna skip over a few of these. There is a lot of interesting content here at the end that we're not going to read detailed following. So if you want to see the last bits that we didn't go over here, it's the MISC section. I'll leave a link to this patch note in the description below. Everything that's left behind now is just bullet points of things that are kind of mentioned to what's changed, to what's added, or not added, but like tweaked or changed a little bit. So if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already with those notifications turned on. We are on a road to 3,000 subs. And if you can help me out getting there, we can all celebrate with a nice charge into the Agatha Mason to Notion lines of battle. Until next time, I've been the Hurricane Turtle, and I'll see you soon, maybe on the battlefield of Tenosha. Until then, see you around. Bye-bye.